Hi, fourth graders. Hopefully last week went really well for you. Hopefully you've also noticed that your language book is getting thinner and thinner, the pages that we have left to do together. We're nearing the end of the year and we have very little left to do. And so some things we've already been through, we've already learned all 8 parts of speech, and hopefully you can tell those to your mom and dad by memory, just by putting the 8 fingers on your hands. If not, don't forget about your flip book. You can pull that out of your folder. But at some point this week, I challenge you to get in front of your parents and name all 8 parts of speech. See if you can do it. And then if you can, I challenge you even further to name what job each part of speech does, and see if you can do that with your mom or dad. That might be a challenge. So if you need, again, don't forget you have a flip book that has all 8 of them on there and the jobs that they do. I know we didn't get to finish our flip books together. I don't think we did before the end of the year came. Maybe we did. So hopefully you have all the jobs that they do, but even if we didn't finish the notes in all of the parts, each one tells the job that they do in the definition. So don't forget that as well. So after we went through the 8 parts of speech, then we talked about some subject-verb agreement things. We talked about if we have a singular subject, how we need a verb that's also singular. And if we have a plural subject, we need a verb that's plural. So hopefully that was a good reminder and refresher for you. And then last week we talked about some troublesome words. We talked about sit and set and the difference between those two, and lie and lay and the difference between those two. So I have another list of words that are troublesome for you, that sometimes we interchange and we use them in the same way, and we shouldn't. They're actually very different. So the first ones I have for you are accept versus accept. I'm enunciating the a and the in these words right now so that you can hear them. However, when you hear them in English, most people just pronounce both of these words as accept. And so you're not going to know which one they're talking about unless you know how they're using it. Now, generally, this word accept is a verb. It's an action, okay? Most of the time it's an action. There are a few exceptions, but none we're going to study in 4th grade because it's more complicated, and only if you have gone to college and are in a specific profession would you use this word as something other than a verb. So for everyday English and all purposes of 4th grade, it's a verb. Accept is a preposition. Okay, and for all purposes that we know of for 4th grade, we're going to say that it's always a preposition. Also, this verb or this word can be used as something different than a preposition in everyday language, but most of the time only used in very high levels of professional speech. And so we're going to just use it as a preposition here because we're not in higher level learning at this moment. So I want to make sure you guys understand this word accept is sorry, I'm misspelling it. Shania accepts her invitation. There's our verb, accepts. This is what Shania is doing. I'm going to underline it twice to show it's a verb. Shania is my subject. Shania accepts her invitation. Okay, versus this one, this is a preposition that's going to show a relationship with something. Okay, the boys played tag except one did not. Played is our verb, boys is our subject, and notice except here. Except one, okay? This is our prepositional phrase using the preposition except. Okay, so notice that this is always a preposition and this is always a verb, and you'll be able to keep them straight. The only other thing I want to point out about these 2 words is ACC and EXC, okay? ACC, we can associate this with the word has just left my tongue. Maybe I'll think of it in a second. But what I want you to know is it means to receive, to take in. Okay? So if you can think of like, I accept, right? And then this one means to exclude. And you see why I circled this EXC, because then you have it here too, to exclude. It means to leave something out, okay? And so they actually mean very opposite things, not just that one's a verb and one's a preposition, but their meaning is also very opposite. So hopefully that helps you keep them straight. I really wish I could remember the word that I was going to associate with this one so you would remember, and now I'm forgetting. Anyway, nonetheless, they're still very opposite in meaning, okay? So our next two. Affect versus effect. Again, I'm over enunciating the A and the E so that you can hear the difference between the two, but most of the time when you hear your mom or dad or your friends say them, they're both going to sound like the effect, okay? And you can't tell the difference between what they're saying. And so which one are they using, or which one do I use when I'm writing? Well, let's talk about what these are. Affect, for our purposes, is always a verb, just like accept, okay? Always a verb. And effect is always a noun, not a preposition like the last one, okay? They mean very similar things, so that's the reason why we're not going to talk about their meaning like we did the last two words that had very opposite meanings, because these two actually mean something very similar. Your book tells you that one of them means to influence or to act upon, and the other one means a result or a consequence, which they're not opposite like the last ones, so their meanings even can get confusing sometimes. So your book does give you those definitions, but if you can remember that this one is always a verb and this one is always a noun, then you'll keep them straight. So let's give some examples. Okay, now will affect in this sentence. My test will affect my grade is the action that's happening, and test is what is doing the affecting. Okay, notice in this sentence, this is a verb, which is why I use the affect. All right, but then if I were to rewrite this using a noun, actually, let's do this. My grade went up because of the effect my A on the last test had. Okay, my grade went up because of the effect my A on the last test had on it. Now, notice my grade went up. Went is my verb, and grade is my subject. And then because of the effect, remember when we see the in front of a word, it always means that it's a noun. So in this sentence, this is a noun, which is why I used the effect. Now your book gave you a couple examples as well if you need more to help you keep it straight, but always remember that affect is a verb and effect is a noun, and you'll be able to keep them straight. All right, let's go on to the next two pairs. All right, we have beside versus besides. Okay, notice the only difference here is there's no S here and there's an S here. Okay, all right, this word means next to, and it is a preposition. Okay, we use it as a preposition in sentences, meaning next to. Literally, something is beside me, that means it's next to me, okay? And then this word besides is, I don't remember what part of speech it is, but it means like in addition to. So like it's a word that you use like, didn't get invited to the party. Besides, I didn't want to go anyway. Okay, that just means in addition to, I didn't want to go, so it's not a big deal that I didn't get invited to the party. So your book tells you, I sat beside her at school is my preposition, and then besides, Jack has several books besides this one. So you just need to remember what their meanings are. This means in addition to, or also, right? Also, okay? So that's how we keep these. This one means next to, and this one means in addition to when we add an S to it. All right. Between and among. Make sure I spell it right. All right. This has to do with number. So think number. Between is comparing two people, places, things, or ideas, right? Or also known as nouns. Comparing nouns or putting something between two things, okay? Among means putting it among more than two. Okay, so what would this look like? Well, the example in your book that they give you, Jared and I had $3 between us because there's just Jared and I. So those $3 are between us. However, if you listen to this one, the sickness spread among the townspeople. Okay, it didn't spread between the townspeople because there were more than one, right? Or more than two, rather. It spread among the townspeople because there were many of them. Okay, so this has to do with number. All right, between just two, among more than two. Moving on. Burst and bust. Okay, this one will surprise you actually. We do not use bust or busted when you should use burst, okay? So, I'm going to draw a circle around this one and a slash through it because this is what's going to shock you. The balloon busted loudly. Okay? How many of you would speak this way? I'm sure that many of you are looking at this sentence going, well, yeah, that's not wrong. Why does she have a slash through our circle here with bust? Actually, this is incorrect speech. We would actually say, instead of busted, we would take it out and say the balloon burst loudly. And we do not put an ED on burst. Okay, it is an irregular verb. When conjugated, doesn't need an ED. So the balloon burst loudly is how we would say this. So don't forget, we're not using bust, we use burst. Okay, next. Okay. Now, I'm putting have of versus have because I want you guys to look at the two sentences in your book. Again, we're on page 244. Of is a preposition, this word right here. Okay, it's a preposition, and it should never be used for the helping verb with the helping verb have. Okay, so what I want to show you an example of. So sad that this sentence is actually not true. I could have gone to school today. We could not have gone to school today. So sad. I bet when the people who wrote your textbook never thought that that would actually be a thing. But here we are, right? Coronavirus later. I could have gone to school today. How many of us speak this way? I would say many of us. I've probably heard, if not all of you, most of you, say something like this. I could have gone to Six Flags. I could have done something. This is actually a preposition, and we cannot use it as a verb, and oftentimes we do. It's not a helping verb. Our main verb here is gone, and of is not a helping verb, so we cannot use it. It should be I could have gone to school today. So when I put have and of together, that's what I mean. We really should just use have and never of. Okay? Similarly, I'm going to skip one really quick and come back to it because I want to do this one next because it has the same preposition in it. Okay, this word off of. How many of you have said, I jumped off of the chair? Oh my gosh, we probably all should raise our hand, right? We've all spoken this way. I jumped off of the chair. Actually, again, of is a preposition and we don't need it. Okay, it should just be I jumped off the chair. It's completely not needed there. So in the scenario before, we were using it as a helping verb and it's not a helping verb. And now we're just sticking it in when it's redundant. It's not really needed. So we don't need that extra of. So be careful of those ofs when you're writing them. Okay. All right, the one I said I would come back to is this. Less versus fewer, okay? Less is used when dealing with a substance that can be counted, okay? So I'm going to write that. Substance that can be counted, okay? And fewer is used with a substance that's with dealing with a number of definite countable objects. Oh, sorry. Y'all. I need y'all here to keep me accountable to these. This is cannot be counted. This one is the one that can be. We're dealing with a definite number or can be counted. Okay, so less would be like water, right? We can't count water or rain. We can't count rain. The only one who knows how many raindrops happen in a storm is God, right? All right, so we wouldn't say we got fewer rain today than we did yesterday because we cannot count rain. We would say we got less rain today than yesterday. But we can count, things that we can count are fewer. In your book gives eggs. She used fewer eggs in the pie than in the cake, because we can count the number of eggs. You wouldn't say that she used less eggs in the pie than in the cake because we can count them. We would say fewer, okay? And so make sure you pay attention to those because there's going to be lots of examples about those. This one is we cannot count, and this one we use when we can count or a definite number of something. Okay, then we're going to talk about to and. Okay, this one seems silly, but you would be surprised at how many people make this mistake. It says never use and for to after the verb try, okay? Like, this is after, well, if I can spell correctly, after the verb try. This is what we're specifically talking about. Like, please try and tie your shoe. Okay, how many of you would say that this is correct or incorrect? Okay, what makes it incorrect is this and right here. Okay, we don't need an and. And is a conjunction. And conjunctions always join two or more things together. We don't have two or more things here. Okay, we have one person tying their one shoe. Okay, it doesn't say their left shoe and their right shoe, then we would need an and, but we don't have anything that we need and here for. So This really should be, please try, not and tie your shoe, but try to tie your shoe, okay? So with the word try, this verb, we always are going to use to and never and, okay? All right, and then we have last one, wait on and wait for. These are actually two very different things, okay? When someone is waiting on or someone is waiting for, I really wish we could be together and talk about this. I would be interested to see what you guys, which one you think is which. But to be waited on means served, right? Or if you're waiting on, it means you are serving. So we're going to put to serve under this, okay? And then wait for means to wait, like a time. You're waiting on someone, right? You're waiting for something or someone, okay? So you would not say, I am waiting on my mom, okay? If you mean that you're sitting there waiting for her to finish shopping or waiting for her to bring you dinner or whatever, then you are waiting a time period. It should be, I am waiting for my mom, okay? If you say wait on, then you literally mean someone is serving. Either you're doing the serving or someone else is doing the serving for you, okay? And I like to think of this as like a server at a restaurant, right? Okay? That is a waiter. That's what we call a waiter, and that's where this comes from, okay? This waiter is waiting on you. They are serving you, okay? So if you wait on somebody or somebody is waiting on you, that means service, okay? And waiting for literally means you're sitting for a period of time. It could be short, could be long, but you're sitting there waiting for something or someone to happen or do something, okay? So that's the difference between these two. This is all on page 244. I have one more to go over with you before, two more to go over with you before you finish your pages for today. And I'm going to do them all in the same video. It's a long video, so we'll get through it. These two pairs of words, though, are words that you guys are very familiar with, and they're not going to take us long. You guys have been reviewing them probably since first grade. I'm almost sure. I know for sure second and third. We've even talked about them this year a couple of times. Okay, these two words, it's and its, okay? Remember, if there's an apostrophe, I'm going to write it here, apostrophe means contraction. This is literally the word it is joined together as a contraction, okay? This is the possessive pronoun. Oops, I don't need that last one. Meaning, its collar is red. Okay? It's meaning whatever that dog or cat or whatever is wearing that collar, it is owning its collar. It's a possessive pronoun. Its collar. Okay? Contraction it is, possessive pronoun. Okay? And then last pair of words. Same thing. Your. Again, apostrophe means, with pronouns anyway, means contraction. So these are the two words you and are joined together with an apostrophe, making the contraction your, okay? This one is the possessive pronoun. Again, is that your bike? Okay, Who's owning that bike? You are. That's showing possession. You're owning something. Possessive pronoun, okay? So if you see an apostrophe with a pronoun, it means contraction. If it's in this form, it's just the possessive pronoun, okay? So you guys have some practice pages to do with all of those troublesome words over the next couple of days. Good luck, and make sure Mom emails or reaches out if you guys need extra help.